You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten coverage like no other. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year-long and your DFS payouts. Your only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, and your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to fit
pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much, we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay.
Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Get caught up with the big stories from around the world in sports in just a few minutes. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game today, weekdays. Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. Baseball, football, basketball, whatever's trending in the world of sports, it's on Take Me Out to the Ball Game today in just a few minutes. It drops weekdays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, as Wake Up Y'all is ending. Take Me Out to the Ball Game today on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Take me out to the ball game. The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
LeBron James playing at the level he's playing this year already. I mean, it is unbelievable.
I gotta remember to record this, man.
Yeah, you're not editing nothing. You don't got that talent right now.
People might walk up to you occasionally and they might want to just take a picture with you and say, congratulations, great work. With me, they want to debate. My life is harder.
Well, Stephen, here's what I want you to realize. A, you're lying. Nobody comes up to you. Okay? Stephen A. Smith does not have one fan. Not one. There's never been a request for a picture. There's never been a request for a debate. You are you're snap finger famous. That's the guy. What's the guy that's from,
The guy was just hanging brain. I mean, what's all the fuss? If that's flashing, then lock me up.
Come Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, here comes.
The three things that I learned from having sex with my teacher. For a lot of guys, this is a dream come true, and it was a reality for me. So I just wanted to share the experience and what I learned from it. Okay, number one, it's a myth that you're going to be the guy. Despite what the movies and TV shows say, you're not going to get high fives from all your friends. In fact, for me, a lot of my friends got very distanced from me after it happened. Number two, just because he says he's a qualified sex ed teacher doesn't mean he is. In hindsight, I should have trusted my gut that Mr. Robinson was probably an English teacher for a reason. Okay, and lastly, homeschooling is overrated.
Armchair.
Welcome to the Handicappers, your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football, year long, and your DFS payouts. True Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers. Welcoming in Bobby the Kid with Joey and Tones Areola, with Stephen Troche and Sean O'Toole on the way. With your host, Mac McGee. Welcome to the Handicappers. Good morning. And welcome to the Handicappers. We will welcome in Mr. Joey Areola first. A, he showed up first, and B, his Colts got a big W last night. How are you this morning, sir?
Good morning, Mac. I'm doing good. Yeah, it's 2 for 2 on my early arisings. Maybe I found the epiphany here for towards the new year, but big Colts win.
Maybe the Colts should just start playing college football and play on Saturdays because they on Saturdays.
Yeah. Hey, the Colts have had a couple of primetime games like you alluded to on Saturdays lately, and it's worked out. Tennessee had a big win, which will keep us out of the division. But, man, the AFC South's doing pretty good right now this time of year for the Titans and the Colts.
Nobody wants to draw the Colts, I can tell you that right now. Also welcome in is Mr. Tampa Tones. Tampa, I'm wearing your Tampa gear, baby. What say you? I wanted some red and green for Christmas, and then I'm also trying to generate my inner Antonio Brown as I need him in fantasy today.
Yeah, a lot of people all of a sudden will need a Merry Christmas to you, Mac. Merry Christmas to all the fantasy footballers. Is that a Bear Rude, by the way?
It is a Bear Rude.
Yep, the man from Nebraska himself played some great years at middle linebacker for the Bucs. So I'm a big fan. I had a Barrett Rude white jersey. Just a great weekend for football. Saturday had some
That's
great
how I know
games.
you're a fan, that you would recognize a Barrett Rude.
Yes, sir. Not many will out here, but honored to be here on a holiday weekend and Christmas weekend. We got some good games today. Hopefully follows up the good ones from yesterday.
Paying attention to the Celtics has got nothing to do with basketball. It's because it's red and green. That's why I got it. Also, so they screwed them up. We're trying to get them to remake them right now, but it's Christmas season, so we don't know what we expect to get them to y'all sometime in January. At some point, these are going to be heading y'all's way.
Wow.
Quarterbacks jersey.
That is awesome.
Okay. Now, this is one of the ones they screwed up. They misspelled quarterbacks is what happened. But they'll all have your names on it. They'll all have the number 14 is symbolic because that was the year that the armchair quarterback started. So that's why 14 is there. And they're a little close to Patriots colors, but I went with red, white, and blue to try to be as neutral as I could, for the United States. And so
well, thank you.
Well, thanks goes out to my wife because she did a lot of the hard work.
Yeah.
And she wants me to show the special guest here.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. The full team is in.
She dresses his dog up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Hey, it's a cutie dog looking good.
Looks like a Christmas gift if I've ever seen one. That's awesome.
She had that and a Santa Claus. So if you saw the very beginning of the video today, I put the video into our intro. She had this Santa Claus thing on that as well too. So it looks like Santa Claus is riding a sleigh, but it's on the dog's back. And so there's a video of her running around in it. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into week number 16, a huge week because, okay, first of all, fantasy football wise, this is most likely your semifinals. And fantasy football wise, you're cussing or you're happy this morning because of what happened yesterday and possibly Thursday. I was very happy when I clicked on my matchup around 6 minutes after kickoff and was assured that one of the guys that I'm playing had left James Conner in his lineup. I was like, boom!
See ya.
But he had Nick Chubb, so it's still going to be dicey because we all know what Nick Chubb did. But at least that helps me out big time when Connor gets him a big fat goose egg. So I'm hoping for good things on that. I'm in pretty good shape in most of the leagues. I hate to jinx it by talking out loud about it, but this is the show, so got to do it. But what the hell's going on here? Microsoft is trying to, all right, screw off. You try to do something, you try to open up another window, and then they're over here trying to, they have this big block screen because we'll help you for assistance. Bitch, I don't need your help.
Didn't ask for help, don't give it to me.
This ain't my first rodeo, baby. We're here trying to scour the internet for articles and stuff like that, and you're over here trying to throw nonsense at me. But before we get into your cold and bold predictions, I'm curious, are you in any championship scenarios? And if so, have you had guys go, or are you going up against guys or like, are you serious? This guy's got Deebo Samuel and AJ Brown and Nick Chubb. What the hell? I got to throw darts, for miracles. Joey, I'll start with you. Are you in any championship scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm left on one league. I'm in my semifinal, and I went up against Aaron Jones and Deebo Samuel over the past few days. So Deebo did good, obviously, and Aaron Jones didn't find the end zone. And I was against Jonathan Taylor, who, yes, he had 100 and something yards, but he didn't find the end zone either. So I'm playing the team with the most points in the league. It's a 50-50 matchup. I could really use a good day out of Tampa Tones is Tom Brady to who do I have in that league? Tom Brady to Gronkowski. I'll have him at my tight end. So I really need the Buccaneers to help me out. But that's it for me. One league semifinal where it says about a 50-50 matchup at this point in time.
Well, going up against Aaron Jones is not a bad thing. Oh, by the way, today is it's National Candy Cane Day. That's always been a thing because for whatever reason, the day after Christmas, National Candy Cane Day, probably because you got a boat ton of them left on your tree. But then it's Boxing Day, which is big. If anyone knows anything about EPL soccer, it's a huge day in the EPL soccer. But it's also, I think this goes right into fantasy football. It's National Whiners Day. So get ready for the whiners because they're going to be out there whining and moaning and bitching. Man, it didn't work out for me. Oh, man. What's the one that I kept getting from the guys last week? There was a thread going in there, but it's so unpredictable. So see, we're in the business of predicting. So you can't say it's unpredictable because you watch the games and you kind of have to you can't predict everything in football. It's impossible, but you try to get an educated guess going. So if you lose today, you can't throw your hands up in the air and go, well, it's not my fault. No, it is your fault. Okay. It's my fault for drafting Zeke Elliott in some of my leagues, which is why by the way, he has made it very, very convenient for me not to be in the playoffs anymore in any of the leagues that he's involved in. It's very AJ Brown, the leagues that I had him in. I didn't make it this far in the playoffs for him to help me out. Why? Because he wasn't on the field for like 6 weeks. So I wasn't getting any wins because he wasn't giving me any points. So you have to adjust. I have one league. I was talking to my buddies last night about it. We were all hanging out. And it was the one that we all did in person in Nashville. And I was like, that league sucked. Now, there's a couple reasons why. First of all, I was on a bender, and I was coming off of very little sleep. But then the other thing is, and maybe because of the bender, I had talked myself into I need to draft opposite of what I've drafted on my other leagues so that if I'm terribly wrong, this team will at least be good. And that team was awful. So I should have stuck with my original philosophy in all my other leagues. I mean, I had like Zeke and Saquon Barkley. I had a bunch of guys out that I didn't want any shares of, but because they fell so far in our draft, I went ahead and grabbed them. Tones, what about you? What do you got going on in the playoffs today?
I'm still alive in 4 leagues, and technically I'm in 2, even though it should be next week. I'm in 2 championships today and 2 semifinals today. So I got my hands full. In one league, I'm playing from behind as I had Kittle and Prater, and the opposition at Deebo Samuel.
Prater. Great job, buddy.
I know. He really
thank you, Prater.
He really did bad, but I'm lucky he got that last field goal, honestly, because I thought the Cardinals would go for it. So at least he scraped those points off the ground. But she had Aaron Jones, so at least that evened out her Deebo Samuel. And then in my other league, I'm projected to win in the championship. It's going to be a close one. I already had a handful of guys. I had Jimmy Garoppolo, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., George Kittle, and the opposition had a handful. And then I'm still alive in your league. I had Deebo Samuel in the YouTube league, so I'm projected to win that league. And then I'm in a guillotine league in Yahoo where every week the lowest scoring team gets eliminated. I'm still alive in that one. It's down to me and some other dude. He's projected to win right now because I had Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Taylor. Not that either had a bad game, but in terms of their fantasy standards, they didn't have
I'd like to
games.
play in a guillotine league next year. That's one that I haven't played in one in about 4 years, and I'd like to. I always forget about them.
They're good. They're good fun. A lot of people just don't know about them or, are used to them, so they get rubbed the wrong way. But I
Who
actually
do you
really
go
enjoy it.
through on that?
Yahoo.
It is Yahoo. So is that a setting, or are you just doing it yourself? You're just dumping out everyone's players every time they lose.
Right. So pretty much a league manager will go in every Tuesday or Wednesday with COVID, whenever games get completed for the week. He'll just wipe out the lowest scoring roster, and then everyone gets a $200 budget at the beginning of the year. So for all these guys coming off these teams, you got to use your money wisely.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to do one of those, even if it was just for fun. I think that'd be a fun thing to do next year. As far as mine goes, I see Brian's watching, so I'm playing him in one league. So that's a guaranteed victory right there. That dope will never beat me.
Morning, Brian.
He's got Jonathan Taylor. So round one went pretty good because Taylor, he did okay, but that's not Taylor type of. I mean, they shut his ass down after that first 40-something yard run. He didn't do anything. I don't have as much faith in the Raiders next week, so that's going to be a problem. But at least I have Nick Chubb in that league. But and then in the other leagues that the guys are involved in, I'm in was it 4 or 5 more semifinals outside of that, and then also total. So of the 32 teams that I played with this year, I'm in 21 semifinals. My goal is to make the championship in about. If I can get into the championship 75%, I'm extremely happy. 50%, I'll take it. Because the whole point is making the playoffs, because after that, it's really a crapshoot. Like, for instance, the guy that I'm playing in the Auction 2 Keeper League, really good team. Best team all year. He had George Kittle out the gate.
Yeah.
He got 3 points for him. And then he went up against me, and I've got Deebo Samuel, Nick Chubb, and Ertz. So he wakes up this morning down 77-3.
Yeah.
I'm projected to beat him by around 25. But okay, if I end up beating him, there's no way you can say that his team is worse than my team. My team is far worse. But getting the right players at the right time. By the way, is Stephon Diggs going to do something? I mean, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah, he's in trouble.
I feel obligated to start him, especially when he has Tyreek Hill, right? I want to go match, blow for blow there, but he's also got Cooper Kupp. Thankfully, I've got Deebo Samuel, so hopefully he'll. I think it's really going to come down to our running backs. But anyways, I won't peel back that entire onion. I was just kind of curious where y'all are at.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah. Unless you're playing me, then to hell with you.
Sorry, Brian.
In a 2 QB league, I had Lamar Jackson and his backup Tyler Huntley. So had to scramble around right now. Since it's a 2 QB league, they're all gone. We're deciding between Boyle, Book, and Josh Johnson. It's like, oof.
Don't do Boyle.
We're gonna do Josh Johnson, I think.
I guess so.
It's unfortunate.
You don't know what to make of Ian Book because he hasn't played. So, but I damn sure wouldn't put Boyle in there. That guy was terrible.
We're not. What you mean? That 77 passing yards in his first start didn't catch
2 interceptions. And plus, if you look at his freaking college football career, when he made that start that day, we talked about it. He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. There's nothing else out there on the waiver wire for you.
No, everyone's just been scooping up starters as they come with this COVID scarcity and all these injuries. So there's really just
how deep are your benches?
We have they're 19-man rosters total.
And how deep of a league?
It's 12 teams, but you could start 2.
Yeah, it gets brutal.
It gets tough.
We're picking up the mailman next door at this point.
Well, I mean, I was thinking that maybe like a Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson would be out there, just since they're playing each other against that actually could be an entertaining game. Not that anyone cares who wins it, but let's go ahead and move on and get the cold and bold predictions. We'll start with Joey. What say you?
Yep, let's do it. The guys I'm not too high on today, a little bit cold right now. Starting off with the Carolina Panthers and DJ Moore. I just think that offense, Carolina, they switch quarterbacks every week. They don't know who they're going to play. They say this week you'll see some Sam Darnold, but he's not going to start. To me, that's just a recipe for the disaster when you do something like that. So I'm not a big fan on really many of their players, but especially at the wideout position as they're in a division battle today. Najee Harris, who disappointed me last week, I think he'll disappoint again. Honestly, they're going up against the Kansas City team, who's really hot right now, and Pittsburgh just seems like they're stuck in mud on offense. I know they beat the Titans in a close game last week, but the Titans really should have won that game, as it was very ugly to the finish line with the battle of those two teams. And Barkley on the Giants. I mean, if you have any Giants in your starting lineup left these days, you're not doing too hot. I mean, they're at a Philadelphia Eagles team today who's fighting for their playoff chances, while the Giants are pretty much packing it up. Besides Joe Judge's good deed to his staff, he hasn't done too much good for
Jake
New York.
Fromm is going to get the start.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's all I have to say on that.
Jake from State Fromm.
Yeah. Is this Jackson?
He's going to be out there playing quarterback in the Yankees.
Yeah, it's better than looking at Mike Glennon, I guess, but not really many good options here. Everyone's, kind of been going to the opposite side of things now. I really expect James Robinson's big game to be today. He's going up against Jets defense, who has a lot of players out with COVID, including their coach. And I think he has one of those 2 touchdowns, 100-yard games today, as Jacksonville should continue to look to use him more without their idiot head coach. Going down to Buffalo, they have a few players out due to COVID, including Cole Beasley. I kind of like Dawson Knox in this spot, as I assume he's not out. I know they got Gabriel Davis and I believe Cole Beasley out, but somebody's got to step up for Buffalo in a big game against New England today. And I think Buffalo will play it close. I don't think this is going to be a New England blowout. And I'm high on the Bengals wideouts. The Ravens injuries, oh my gosh, they've been decimated all year, but especially at the cornerback position and now quarterback. But more importantly for fantasy, those Bengals wideouts, if you need a depth play, look at your Boyds, look at your Higgins. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go down where I see the Bengals put up 30 plus points. So that's my cold and bold for today.
And Tones, what say you?
Yeah, for today, I'd like to start off with my bold. I'll go with Justin Jackson with Austin Eckler out on the COVID shelf. Justin Jackson should be started in many fantasy league. Chargers running back looking to have a big game. He's had a couple big runs this year when he has touched the ball on a limited basis. So today, I think that he explodes and has himself a nice day against a porous Houston defense. And for my last 2 bolds, I got a couple of bucks. I got Antonio Brown coming back off of a suspension, off of an injury. He has not played in a while. Well, guess what? The Bucs are now without Leonard Fournette. They're without Chris Godwin. They're without Mike Evans. They need someone to catch these passes, and it look no further than Antonio Brown. I think he has a huge game today. And also, he had a couple good games against Carolina on the ground last year, and Bucs said they would like to try and get him going. I like Ronald Jones today out of the Bucs backfield. He had almost a 200-yard game against the Panthers last season. He had a 99-yard touchdown run against him. I hope he gets going today. He needs to. And then cold predictions, Terry McLaurin, I'm not a fan of his this week. They go against the Cowboys tonight. Obviously, Cowboys defense has been pretty good this year, especially with some big names. McLaurin is a tough matchup. Their quarterbacks, you don't even know with COVID and injuries at this point who might be under center in that one. Then Jacoby Myers, I don't like either, even if it's a PPR league. They're going against Buffalo. Buffalo desperately needs a win. Jacoby Myers hasn't caught in a touchdown in a number of weeks at this point. I'd look elsewhere if you need some wide receiver help. And then obviously we rapped on him before. And obviously, unless you're in desperate name modes, this name doesn't even come up. Stay the hell away from knockoff TB12 Tim Boyle. Just don't even consider him in your circumstances whatsoever. So those are a couple bolds and colds I got going for today.
I'm just going to give y'all 2. I normally don't chime in on these, but hey, it's fantasy playoffs. People out there looking for dart throws. My bold prediction: if you're in a bind and you're painted into a corner, and you're like, my God, my defense. Like, let's say if you got the Rams and they're going up against the Vikings. Like, I like my defense, but I don't like their matchup.
Right.
The dart throw I like the best is the Falcons at home against Tim Boyle. And so that is my cold cold prediction is the Lions will not score many points. Right now, I think they're over under. He had 17.5 for a team. I don't think they reach that. I do not.
No.
I expected, when I woke up this morning, I expected to see 14.5. 17.5 seems extremely high. And then my bold prediction, James Robinson will win a lot of people semifinals week if you've got him.
Amen.
He should feast on that Jets defense, and they are using him now that Urban Crier's gone. So I think that those are two very, very interesting ones. And another cold prediction, don't fall for it. Don't believe the hype. I know Kadarius Toney is back today. The guy's not played in weeks. If you're streaming, I've had this question thrown at me too many times over the last 24 hours. Don't risk it. Don't risk it, because you're in the playoffs and you're asking a guy to perform with a brand new quarterback. And this guy seems like every time he gets a hangnail, he comes out of the game. I'd steer clear of it. All right, let's go ahead and get into the DFS lineups of integrity. Joey, go first for us, sir.
Okie dokie. Let's get this thing rolling. I'm going to start today with my QB, Jalen Hurts. He's priced out at 6,400. As I said, they're against a Giants team who ranks in the lower half of the league in total defense. And I just don't see the Giants really showing up too much more this year. So I like what the Eagles can do. I'm going to take him. Running back one, Cordell Patterson. We alluded to this game a little bit. Detroit's trotting out Boyle. You shouldn't see much there. Their defense is ranked
Breaking
20.
news. I don't mean to cut you off. Breaking
No, you're
news.
fine.
Travis Kelce is out.
Ooh, that's going to hurt some leagues today.
Screw me.
So Hill is in for them and Kelsey is out. Then that's going to affect fantasy in some type of way. But Cordell Patterson at 6,700. I like him today against a soft Detroit team. Running back two, we alerted him a couple of times, me and Mac James Robinson at 5,900 going against the 32nd ranked defense. And they have injuries and COVID. I really like James Robinson to step up. Wide receiver one, TJ Lockett at 6,700. They're going against a Chicago team at home where, to me, Chicago has had COVID in their secondary, but they've also not been playing well. And the only connection that seems to be going well for Russ these days is Lockett, so I like that there. Jamar Chase at 7,100. Alluded to them with Baltimore's defense just being depleted in so many areas. I don't think Baltimore has the ball enough today to even compete. I think Chase will jump up to some early big plays. Wide receiver three, I actually went with another Bengal, Tyler Boyd. Again, I think Joe Burrow will go off today. They're at home. They usually play pretty good there, and they're in a comfortable setting with a young team. So I like both of them. My hookup to Jalen Hurts will be Goddard. I got him at 5,100. I think, those two last week had about 7 catches for 80-something yards. Goddard played pretty big. He's going to need to do it again if the Eagles are going to have success attacking through the air. My flex position is Rex Burkhead at 4,500. They're going against a 28th Chargers defense, and if they want to have any chance in this game, they're going to have to get him going through the air and through the ground. And I had barely no money left, so I'm figuring maybe since the Chargers are on the road, maybe since Eckler's out, their offense somehow struggles a tad. But really, it was just no money left with the Texans defense at 2,400, rounding out my team. And that's my DFS of integrity.
All right, Tones, what say you?
Yeah, real quick, I got a question on Twitter too. Do we want to get to that now about fantasy? Or
Yeah. Throw it at us.
All right, Justin Pena Cripps tweeted at us. Who would you play? I'm guessing he said Henderson, Penny, Patterson, and then after Patterson, he has in parentheses Gibson questionable. So I'm guessing he means Washington's backup Patterson, Murray or Cole.
Oh, there were 2 more.
Yeah, so it's Henderson, Penny, Patterson, which I'm guessing is Washington's Patterson, Murray.
I think it's probably Cordero Patterson if you're talking about fantasy football.
True, Murray or Coleman. I just think it might be the Washington Patterson because right after he says Patterson, he puts Gibson questionable, which I hate that stuff because say first names here, but it would be 2 out of these guys.
I'm going to assume it's Cordero Patterson, so I'm going with Cordero Patterson. And what were the other 4?
Henderson, Penny, Murray, or Coleman. Need 2 and 0.25 per rushing yard. That's interesting scoring, 0.25
Henderson
per rushing yard.
I don't need the extra information. Henderson, what are the other 3?
Henderson, Penny, Patterson, Murray, or Coleman.
Henderson. I'll say Cordero Patterson, and I mean, I guess I would take I'm thinking Henderson. I wouldn't be scared to put Coleman in against the Jaguars, but Cordero Patterson is my absolute. And then I would probably go Henderson.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same as you. If it is Cordero, you got to throw in Cordero Patterson. That's a must. And then I don't really like Murray. Coleman, obviously facing a nice matchup, still hard to trust. Henderson has been getting touches taken away from Michelle, maybe trying to get him healthy.
But it's the Vikings and their defense is a sieve.
That is true. I'd go with Henderson and Penny just because, Penny and Patterson. I'm sorry, Penny and Patterson.
Penny, I'd be. Whew. Penny would have me worried.
Not that I trust him, but
Penny's going to be in a timeshare in that backfield, so that's what concerns me, because it looks like Alex Collins might play as well today.
Yeah, he could be back off the COVID list. They were saying
he only outtouched DJ Dallas by 2 points, and DJ Dallas actually outscored him last week. So that's, man, I got burned with Rashad Penny.
Yeah, now that you say it, I'd lean Henderson just because at least he'll get a good amount of touches.
He should get 15 touches, I would think, right?
Yeah, I'd go Henderson and Patterson.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah, to me, I'm going to go clean sweep here in Henderson and Patterson. I mean, Patterson's a no-brainer, and then Henderson will get the touches. I never trust a Seattle running back and won't start now, so I agree.
We got another one. Adam Thielen, who's expected to play. Van Jefferson against the Vikings, or Javonte Williams against the Raiders. And this is a 0.5 PPR.
I kind of like Javonte Williams in this one. He's been hot lately. He's been getting a lot of touches, and he's been maximizing those opportunities with those touches. Thielen is nice, but with him banged up, you never quite know. I'd give the edge to Javonte Williams in this one, even though Melvin Gordon's there. I think the Broncos like what they have.
Joey, what say you?
I think I'm going to piggyback off of him. Thielen is great, and Van Jefferson were the first two as great as. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple. I think the Raiders. I know the Raiders' run defense is pretty weak, and yes, they got Melvin Gordon, but he's always seems to be banged up. So I'll take Javonte Williams as well.
Bobby, I don't know if you heard that question or not. Would you go? It's a 0.5 PPR. Thielen, Javonte Williams, or Van Jefferson?
I'm going to have to go with the contrary. I'm going to go with Thielen because. And believe me, I love Justin Jefferson, one of my favorite receivers right now. But he's going to have Jalen Ramsey covering him today, and it's never a tough matchup for any receiver. Or it's a tough matchup for any receiver. So I like Thielen to get a lot more targets than usual today. I think he can have a big game, and Van Jefferson as well. I mean, I think this Vikings-Rams game is going to be a high-scoring affair. So I like Van Jefferson to get a couple looks on deep balls today. But I really think any of them would be good options. So I don't hate Javonte Williams.
And as we welcome you in, what's going on with those Cardinals, buddy?
Another late season collapse from Cliff Kingsbury's Cardinals. Nothing out of the ordinary, I suppose.
Can we address the stupidity at the end of the game? It's 3rd and 10, and he kicks a field goal.
Yeah, I was a breath of fresh air for me when I saw that. Honestly,
you've already burned so much clock getting down there. Just take one more shot to the end zone, see how it goes, and then kick.
Right. I'm not saying go for it on 4th and 10. I'm saying 3rd and 10. What the hell was that?
In the grand scheme, though, it's pretty meaningless in the grand scheme of things. But it was another frustrating move. But overall, the game
it's another dopey analytical move that never works out. These analytical moves that they swear by, they never work out, and it's dopey. You were in their territory. What you've really set yourself up for, more than likely. And there's 40-something seconds, by the way, for people who aren't watching the game, and they had a timeout, right? So you kick the field goal, you're going to have to go for the onside kick regardless. If you get the onside kick, you are now expected to cross the goal line and not just get in field goal range. Prater had a bad night, but he's a decent field goal kicker, right?
Yeah.
So, what the hell was that? It made no sense. I mean, there's gotta, I get it. They got the analytical dorks, but they also need a common sense dude on the sidelines. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you doing, bud? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You got Kyler Murray, give it a shot. If it's not there, then throw it out the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
I just, those types of things. And when the teams go for 2, when they're down by 14, they score a touchdown, they go for 2 in the fourth quarter. That stuff is dopey too. It's like, what the hell? You're not increasing your chances. That has never worked out. I've never seen that work out. What always happens is the team doesn't get the damn extra point conversion. And then now they're forced to go to 2 at the end, and half the time they tie it and half the time they lose. But regardless, that never works out. It's so stupid. It's unbelievable. And you put so much pressure on your team when you go for that and you don't get it. All right. DFS of integrity. Whose turn is it?
I'll go. Joey just completed. Now I'll go, and then
okay.
Here, Bobby's. So we got today. I'm rolling with, although it's not great, but it's more of a value pick. Josh Johnson for 4,000 at the quarterback position. He's been on the Jets this year. Now he's on Baltimore, but he does fit Baltimore's system of play of quarterback, and he did have over 300 passing yards against the Colts earlier this year. So in that fact, I think I'm just going with him for value, as I could spread it out more so throughout the lineup. So Josh Johnson for 4,000 today, as he is starting for Baltimore. I got Joe Mixon at running back for 6,900. I think the Bengals know today's a big game. It's a must win for them. And why not have your best player lead you to that? So I think that Joe Mixon does have a really good game on the ground today. $6,900 there. I said it in my bold predictions. I like Ronald Jones for $5,100 today. He had some really good games against Carolina last year. Carolina's pass D is really good. Their run D it does have its weak links here and there. I think Ronald Jones gets going today for $5,100. I like Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 1 for $9,100. This was able to happen because I got Josh Johnson at quarterback, so I had some extra money left over, was able to go up and get a guy like Cooper Kupp. And, although they're facing Minnesota, he should have some room to wiggle. That should be a good one there. I like Cooper Kupp for $9,100. Then I got Antonio Brown for $4,900. I like the value of AB. No Mike Evans, no Leonard Fournette, no Chris Godwin today. Just a laundry list of no Brashad Perriman either. He's still not back from the COVID list. So it really goes on and on here. Antonio Brown hasn't played in a while, but for $4,900, you could get a guy who goes over 100 receiving yards and a touchdown potentially. That's a pretty good bargain value there. Then I got Scotty Miller for $3,600. I'm hoping he gets a deep ball, gets his way into the end zone against Carolina. So that's really all I'm hoping for out of Scotty Miller for $3,600. My flex is Keenan Allen for $7,700. I think he has a big day against Houston. Who doesn't have a big day against Houston most of the time, but Keenan Allen for $7,700 is a good play in my opinion. And then I got Gronk at my tight end for $6,200. He had a terrible game last week. He had some bad drops. He was open a couple times and didn't make the play. You don't really see that about Gronk. I think he comes back against Carolina today and rebounds and, gain some trust back in Brady. Then I had $2,500 left for defense. I rolled the dice with Bears defense. They're going against Seattle. Russell Wilson's been prone to some mistakes this year. He could turn the ball over a little bit. So not that Bears defenses look great or like they usually do this year, but that's all the money I had left. So Bears defense, $2,500. They play 3:00 at Seattle. And then I got $0 left over after that.
So by the way, Justin came back and said it is Jarrett Patterson. With that being said, I'm not going to roll the dice and wait till kickoff of 8:00 tonight to figure out who I should start there. So I guess I would go with Coleman and Henderson.
Yeah, I'd go with Coleman and Henderson then too. Ty Johnson was even inactive for the Jets last week, so it looks like they really do like Coleman. I'd go Coleman and Henderson if you're talking about Patterson. You just can't trust it.
You do have to worry about Carter, but I think that's going to be a pretty fair split. So I'm not worried about. I can figure Coleman will get around 12 to 15 touches. Henderson 12 to 15 touches. Neither one of those guys are workhorses. So, but if you're painted into a corner, you're painted into a corner, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna roll with the running back that's going up against the Vikings defense and the running back that's going up against the Jaguars defense. That's going to be not the running back that's going to go up against the Cowboys defense.
I agree with that, especially because Washington could fall behind early, start getting their butt kicked, and then next thing you know, they're not even looking to run the ball at all.
Exactly.
So,
all right, lineup of integrity. Bobby, what you got?
All right, starting at the top at quarterback. Normally on weeks like this where there's a lot of guys out, I'll try and go for a budget pick. But I like Stafford a lot today for 6,700 against the Vikings defense. A weak passing defense. I see this being a high-scoring game. I really like Stafford. My running back one is Ronald Jones for 5,100. He's a new running back one, obviously, in that offense with Fournette being out. And other weapons are out too. So I think they're going to rely on the ground a little bit more than usual today. And they're going up against a pretty tough Panthers run defense, but I still like Ronald Jones to get some touches. My running back two is Cordell Patterson for 6,700 against the Panthers. I think he's going to come out looking to prove something. He got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. So he's going to he's going up against the Lions. I'm sorry, I miswrote that. Yeah, they're the 29th defense against running backs, and he's been one of the higher scorers this year. I like Patterson for 6,700. My wide receiver one is Cooper Kupp. He's expensive, but if you can get him this week, you absolutely should. He's 9,100. He's going up against the Vikings defense. This should be a high-scoring game. I'm really banking on that. I think it will be. I like his matchup this week. A bad Vikings secondary. I really see him having a huge day. My wide receiver two is Van Jefferson for 5,500. Again, I see it being a high-scoring game, so I see him getting a couple deep threat passes. I really like Van Jefferson to score today. And he got targeted quite a bit last week too. He actually had a more productive day than Van Jefferson last week. So he's been involved in the offense quite a bit since Robert Woods went out. And then my wide receiver three, I got Emmanuel Sanders for 4,000 against the Patriots. Now they do have a good secondary, but Beasley and Gabriel Davis are both on the COVID list this week. So I anticipate Sanders getting a little bit more targets than usual. I like him for 4,000. My tight end is Foster Moreau for 3,600. He's still cheap because, Waller, he was questionable. Now he's doubtful this week. So I don't anticipate him playing. They're going up against the Broncos, and Moreau had 9 targets last week. So I like his value at 3,600. My flex is Montgomery for 5,700 against the Seahawks. He scored double digits in the past 4 weeks. So and the Seahawks run defense isn't particularly good. So I like his value for 5,700. I think he's a very safe pick. And then my defense to wrap it up is the Chiefs for 3,500 against the Steelers. I'm really anticipating this being a low-scoring game, and the Chiefs they've been good turning the ball over this year.
All right, let's go ahead and get into some of the. Give us your cold and bolds.
Yeah, sure. My bold predictions, the guys I like this week. I like the Rams passing offense as a whole. Anybody you can get in that offense to start, I like this week. I don't hate anyone really. I see Higbee getting involved. I see, Kupp. I see Odell. I see Van Jefferson. All of them really. I don't think anybody's a bad option. Some other guys I like, the backup running backs this week. I like 3 of the top 4 DraftKings running backs are out with COVID or injury. So this is the week to go and scoop up a backup running back for an affordable price. Those are guys like Alexander Madison, Justin Jackson, and Ronald Jones. I think they're all good options for affordable prices. I see them getting involved, obviously, a lot more without their starters being out. And then my last bold prediction, Michael Carter against the Jaguars. I like him. He's been a great running back this year, and given that this should be a close game or even one that the Jets are leading, I see him getting a lot more touches. The Jets have had to pass the ball a lot more this year, given they're playing behind in most games. But this week they're going up against the Jaguars, so I see Michael Carter getting a lot more touches than usual this week, and I'm hoping he can find his way into the end zone. My cold predictions: the Steelers' offense. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, as I mentioned earlier, and the Chiefs have been really good in the turnover battle. I don't have a lot of faith in Ben Roethlisberger to get the ball moving too much today. I don't like it that much. Another one is Stephon Diggs. I don't expect a huge game out of him with J.C. Jackson covering him this game. Diggs he hasn't really lived up to expectations too much this year, but I really don't expect him to have a huge day today, so I wouldn't bank on him too much. And then my last cold prediction, and I know this is going to sound weird to say, but Tom Brady. I just really need to see how he does without a large majority of his weapons being out there before I trust him in my lineups or my DraftKings lineups. If you have him in like your fantasy, your season-long fantasy lineups, I don't hate starting him, but before you put him in your DraftKings lineups. I want to see how he does without his main weapons.
Well, if you've got Brady in your season long, you probably don't have a better option, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to roll with them, but you are a little concerned because of the injuries. And then, of course, I also think Tampa Bay, once they get a lead in this game, because the Panthers are so bad, they're not going to get cute. They're just going to. I don't know how big of a day Ronald Jones will have, but I think he'll get a lot of carries. Now, that's one of the toughest run defenses in the league. He might get 20 carries, but only get 60 yards because that defense is that stout. But I just think let them get anywhere close to a double-digit lead, and it's going to be pound the rock with not just Jones, but everyone that comes out of that backfield is going to get some touches, and then they'll do a little. I do think AB has a chance to have a big game. I'll do my lineup of integrity on the other side of the hour. I have him in my lineup, but I just feel like that team, they're not going to get cute. They're not going to go out there and they don't want to shoot out. They know that the quarterback play for Carolina is awful, and all they got to do is get up 17-7 and just drain the clock, because there's no way the Panthers can come back. And this is also a day, and I think Tones can speak to this. This is a day where the defense has to start stepping up, and the defense has to start putting it on their backs and saying, we can win this division without them. Without our star receivers. And now it's time to get that division sewn away, and then also get ready for the last couple of games of the year, because you still got an outside chance of getting that bye. So
go ahead, Bobby.
Okay, that and Levante David is also out for that defense. So
I was just going to say,
slack. Yeah, they're gonna have to have some guys pick up some slack this week for sure.
That's a huge loss for the defense. I mean, we do have Kevin Minter, who's, he's been a decent backup and he's been a decent starter in his NFL career, but the fall off from Levante to Minter is pretty substantial. And then Jason Pierre-Paul's also out today as well. He just has everything going on. But I am excited to see, with JPP being out, that means their first-round pick, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, fills in. That means we get some opportunities to see what JTS could do. I love my boy JPP, but he's so dang banged up this year. He has like 18 injuries going on at once. This might help the Bucs pass rush. Obviously, Levante, as big as Godwin is, Evans is, and Fournette is, Levante might be the backbreaker to that. And we got a little bit of breaking news here as well. The Giants plan to bring back head coach Joe Judge and quarterback Daniel Jones in 2022. So the Giants making a statement. They like the Judge in their court for whatever reason. I agree. I think that's a bad move. If I had to put my hat,
do one or the other. Don't do both. I
agree.
I'm not ready to give up on Daniel Jones altogether. But he needs a change of scenery.
I don't think he's the guy in New York, but I think it'd be dumb to throw a young quarterback behind that offensive line.
No, but I'm saying go out and get somebody.
Like a veteran?
Yeah, like Sierra's husband, who would love to live in New York City.
Talk Russell, about that turn a franchise around right there. If you get,
although Russell I Wilson. Do believe you can book it right now. Russell Wilson is a New Orleans Saint next year.
Interesting.
And all the fun we'll have with Saints versus Buccaneers.
That would be Jameis? Intense.
That would be
Jameis. You can't leave Jameis out though.
I think
playing great.
If you can get Russell Wilson, you'll let Jameis move on. Hey, you know what? I got a perfect place for Jameis.
Denver,
Atlanta. Kick rocks, Ryan. It's enough already. By the way, this is pretty funny. CJ Uzomah is walking into the stadium to get dressed, and he was wearing an elf gear. So that's pretty funny. As big as that dude is wearing elf gear, that's pretty damn funny.
Nothing small about him.
No. Let's go ahead and talk a couple of games while we got a few minutes before we do the aerial as lock of the week. Jaguars Jets. It's a 2-point spread. Jags are getting 2. I think the Jags are going to win this game. Don't want them to, because that doesn't help your you're a draft stock. But I think the Jags will go out and win this game. I'm intrigued by this game because I want to see Wilson, hopefully, versus Trevor Lawrence. I want to see what the running backs Carter and Robinson can do. Kind of go around, gun to your head, Bobby. Are you taking Jets -2 or Jags +2?
I'm gonna have to lean Jets -2. I just think I trust them a little bit more. They've been playing not terrible lately. I mean, not good, obviously, but I trust them a little bit more than Jaguars. So I'm gonna go Jets -2.
Tones?
Yeah, I'm going with the Jets. Jacksonville, we all were high and mighty on them last week after getting rid of Urban Wigglemeyer, but they got their doors blown out by Houston at home, so it's hard for me to make excuses for the Jags. I think the Jets roll today.
Mm-hmm.
Joey?
I'm actually going to take the Jags, and what I really like, I like the over/under at 41. I would take the over. I think it's going to be
really 41.
Yep, I'm going to.
Wow.
I'm going to take the over all day.
Yeah, that's insane.
That was like last week, 39.5 last week. My lock hit because it was two bad teams playing football, but the score got ran up.
Interceptions alone ought to get you to 41 points. I mean, come on. Let's go.
Yeah, let's
rock and roll, baby. Next game here. What about Chargers Texans? Right now I'm showing 12. I had 13 on one book, but I'm showing 12. Do the Chargers cover against the Texans? I think they do. Bobby, what say you?
Is it 12 you said?
Yeah. On the road. I hate the West Coast, East Coast thing, but Texas sucks. So, I mean,
yeah,
they can really be able to shoot it out with the Chargers, even with their missing pieces.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be rough without Eckler on offense for probably a couple of drives to the Chargers, but I don't see them, keeping this game close. I see them blowing the doors off the Texans, so I do like them to cover.
For a couple of possessions, what are you talking about? He's out for the entire game.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about like getting or adjusting to not having Eckler. I think it's going to, because they're used to having him in the receiving game and the rushing game. He's been a very dynamic weapon. It's going to take some time.
Mike Williams is out too.
Get adjusted.
And Brandon Cooks, I think, is out, right?
Who's that?
Brandon Cooks out too. So a lot of people out.
Well, that's my reasoning for liking the Chargers -12 is the one player that I would be worried about is Brandon Cooks, and that dude ain't playing. Thanks a lot, you jerk off. My fantasy championships are ruined. In the 21 leagues that I'm in the semifinals in, I've got Brandon Cooks in, I think, 16 or 17 leagues.
Oof.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks. He's been my flex all year long. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a wrap. And it was perfectly set up, too. It's one of the reasons why I drafted him. Like, Chargers, they're going to be scoring. They're going to have to chase him. Oh, stupid.
Yeah. COVID really had a bad impact on a lot of fantasy playoffs this year.
Everything.
Big time.
Have no fear. You could pick up Nico Collins or Chris Conley for Houston. They got Danny Amendola still. You got some big options. Philip Dorsett. I mean,
if we're talking about like a dynasty, okay, fair enough. I'm all about some Nico Collins. But fantasy football championship this week, I'm not rolling that dice. Maybe in a DFS league, I'd throw him in there.
Jalen Camp doesn't sound appealing.
I'm not even sure if that's an NFL player.
It sounds like a Madden creative player.
Exactly.
He's set to make his debut. Watch Jalen Camp go off today.
It's got Tones' avatar.
Oh man.
This interesting game to me. So the Ravens are getting 7 on the road to Cincinnati, but it doesn't look like Lamar Jackson's going to play. Huntley's definitely not going to play. I'm assuming it's the kid from Penn State that's going to be out there running around back there, right?
It's Josh Johnson.
Oh, it's Josh Johnson. Okay.
I think they picked him off the Jets practice squad. Yeah, and they picked off Josh Johnson off the Jets practice squad because he actually started the game against the Colts this year for the Jets as well, Josh Johnson. So he's been all over.
Remember something, the last time Burrow played the Ravens, 400 yards passing and 3 touchdowns.
Ooh.
And their deep and their secondary hasn't gotten any healthier.
I'm benching some quote unquote better quarterbacks than Burrow this week for fantasy for Josh Burrow, because I think he's going to ball out. It's 53 degrees, light wind, no sign of precipitation. Dude, this smells like a big day for a Joe Burrow and company.
And Ravens actually got screwed out of McSorley because when Lamar got hurt against the Bears, Huntley was their starter. They did promote McSorley to backup, but then they had to put him down to the practice squad. And then the Cardinals came in and scooped McSorley up off their practice squad. And now
that's where he is. Okay. I missed
that only happened a couple weeks ago, and you hate to see it for the
Well,
Ravens.
I knew he was an option when Huntley went in a few weeks ago. They were talking about McSorley, but I didn't want to ask because it's not that big of a deal. But I was curious, did he get COVID or something? But okay, so he got scooped by the Cardinals.
Correct.
Yep. What about one of the games of the day, and then we'll get into y'all's locks real quick. Chiefs are giving up 10.5 at home to the Steelers. Bobby, what side are you jumping on?
I've said it's a low-scoring game. I predicted that, so it's going to be hard to say. One team's going to win by 11 points. So I'm going to take the Steelers to cover this, and I really like the under today.
Joey,
I'm going to go. Yeah, this is a game I'm probably going to stay away from. But if I had to bet a gun in my head, Pitt plus 10.5. It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points. Even though their offense, I was not happy with last week, and they barely edged out one at home. I think Mike Tomlin's got too much grit, too much manpower. They'll find a way to cover this 10.5.
Tones, do you disagree?
I think that Pittsburgh keeps it close. I think that they lose the game ultimately, but I think they lose by less than 11 points. I like Pittsburgh to cover here. It's just, not Mike Tomlin ball to get blown out in December. So I sense a close one, but Pittsburgh does lose, but they cover.
All right, Joey, what is your lock of the day and your one big thing?
Yeah, my lock of the day, I was bouncing between a few. I'm going to actually go with, let me just make sure it stayed the same, but I'm going to take our talents to.
All right, we got mini Steven Troche deciding over here.
No, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons -7. I didn't really want to take the Falcons because I don't like the direction they're trending in either. But when you're playing Tim Boyle and the Lions, they're on this little mini high right now, but they're still at 2-11-1 at the end of the day. So I think Atlanta comes out at home and just blows the doors.
Kyle Pitts, wake the hell up, man.
Yeah,
wake up.
We've been waiting for that from before the season for the most part, outside of a game or two. So I'm going to lock in the Atlanta Falcons -7. And my one big thing, Colts had a big win last night. I did not expect that. We were without Darius Leonard. We lost a few players due to COVID. And I know the Cardinals shot themselves in the foot a lot, but I was very impressed by the Colts going into Arizona. You just kept thinking Kyler Murray would eventually blow the top off the place. And luckily it didn't happen with some mistakes. So a big Colts win at 9-6. We won't be able to get the division, but as Max said at the beginning of the show, nobody's going to want to play this team come playoff time. I'm very excited about the direction of my Colts.
Tones, what say you?
Yeah, I'm actually going with the barn burner here, and we talked about this one a little bit. I actually really like the Jets -2 at home today. They've beaten some good teams at home. They beat the Bengals at home, and they beat the Titans at home. Today they get a Jaguars team that I was excited for last week. I was on top of the dang world last week after they lost Urban Meyer, and then they lose by 14 at home to Houston. I just find it hard to believe that this Jacksonville team has any steam left to go up to New York and play in some chilly weather and, try and win a football game. So I like Jets giving the 2 points. I know that's tough to say you like the Jets given 2, but in this type of situation, I actually do like the Jets.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next Sunday for Week 17 Championship Week. And good luck to well, you don't need good luck to the Colts. Good luck to the Bucks, and we'll see y'all next week.
Have a good one, Mac.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see you guys next week. And as I log off here, I guess my one big thing is, when it's all said and done, the Raiders will end the year with 7 wins. They're going to lose their last 3.
Really? Okay.
You guys have a great day. Merry Christmas.
All right, brother.
Merry Christmas.
We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. We come back. Sean and Steven join us.
Ready to go?
All set. I can't believe we're going dancing.
You don't go that often?
No, because it's so stupid. Shall we?
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
My favorite comedians, I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm excited to be here. These chairs are horrific. This is designed for I don't know what age. It's not like 6 to 8. Like when you're 11, this is like the perfect size. It's not quite adult size. It's not kid size. I already slouch. It's going to be a bad interview, dude. And I'm blaming the chair.
You've never really written on a sitcom before. If you go through your credits, you hadn't really been on a show before.
Why'd you have to bring that up? Just right out of the gate, he goes negative. There was all these other nice things on your IMDb page I could have brought up, but I noticed this one glaring thing that you've never done. And right out of the gate, was it because I made fun of the chairs? I'm sorry.
Get caught up with the big stories from around the world in sports in just a few minutes. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game today, weekdays. Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. Baseball, football, basketball, whatever's trending in the world of sports, it's on Take Me Out to the Ball Game today in just a few minutes. It drops weekdays. Take Me Out to the Ball Game today on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Take me out to the ball. The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. We're covering the NBA playoffs until we have a winner. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by our mystery sponsor, a product that is so good that they're paying us to keep anyone from associating it with this program.
Hey, what we always call on the game, PlayStation game, what we always call? Heads or tails on the PlayStation game. All right, then. You should have told him tails. I thought you told him. No, I told you. I thought you knew the special teams always told you. They don't play the PlayStation like us. They don't play it like us. I thought you told him. That's what I said. They don't play the PlayStation like us. They don't play it like us.
Why did John...
Good morning. Welcome back here to CBS Sports Radio affiliates. 7 different cities this morning. And we're also on YouTube Live, so if you want to catch the show every single Sunday, find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. YouTube.com/Armchair Quarterbacks 1. That's the number 1. Joining us today is Mr. Sean O'Toole. Sean, how are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Me and my son had a great one. Sorry, Bobby.
You won't have such a great Sunday.
Probably not. No, I've been on the Tim Boyle roller coaster once. I don't think that's going to go great. But hey, there's always hope.
So I showed this in the first hour, but wanted y'all to see it as well. We're getting them redone because there's some misspellings that they did, but these are coming all y'all's way. Well, I guess it'll be January now. We were supposed to be at your houses by Christmas, but the company misspelled. It's a long story, but you'll have your name on the back of the jersey and Armchair Quarterbacks. And I did it really far away so you couldn't see the misspelling. So there you go. But they will be the the 2021 Christmas gifts to all the armchair quarterbacks. And we just appreciate everything y'all do. And my wife was pretty upset about it because they come in and she's like, "Oh my God, they've misspelt it." I was like, "Of course they did." I expected it. They misspelled my last name. I was like, "I don't care." It's like, "No, they misspelled armchair quarterbacks." I go, "How the hell do you misspell that?" This isn't like some made up word. But anyways, we move on. Steven won't be with us today. He is going to a gender reveal. So good buddy of ours is doing gender reveal today.
Those are still a thing?
Yeah, well, Steven doesn't know what it is yet, so I won't spoil it. But the gentleman got schmammered the night that he told me before everyone else that they were pregnant, and he also revealed the gender. He remembered none of it. Last night he tried to lie to me on what the gender was, is the short of it. I won't go into the details because if any of them were watching, I don't want to ruin the. And I was like, you told me the opposite the night where you were hammered when you're actually telling the truth. And he goes, "Wait, what?" I was like, you didn't remember telling me. And then you also didn't remember telling me the gender, but yeah, you've already told me the gender. He goes, "No, I didn't." And then his wife spilled the beans about 5 minutes later. I looked over and I was like, "I've known this for like a month or two." I was like, anyways, funny stuff. That's what happens when you get a whole 12-year-old bourbon. So we move on and let's go ahead and get into well, Sean, hit us off first with the MASH report. Important news because it's week 16. And if you got a guy injured, you got to get him out of the lineup. What you got, sir?
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. So I'm going to give them quick. Travis Kelce did not clear protocols this morning. He is out for today's game against the Steelers. I imagine that's going to hose just a startling number of people, unfortunately. Kadarius Toney is back in for the Giants today after missing the past 4 games with an oblique injury and COVID. Damian Harris was questionable to play today versus the Bills, but according to Schefter, he is going to give it a go. Obviously, Antonio Brown is back for the Bucs. So if you're someone who has some Bucs stock, that's something you should be very, very, very interested in. Obviously, the jokes have already been made, but Jared Goff is out for the Lions today, which sucks for some people because I mean I know a couple people who won quarterfinal matchups by streaming him last week, but it's going to be the Tim Boyle show today. Adam Thielen's finally going to be back today against the Rams. Austin Eckler is out. He announced that on his Instagram. He tested positive again yesterday to not travel with the team. So Justin Jackson is going to step in. But if you've seen a game where they don't have Eckler, it's a lot of Justin Jackson, but it's also a fair amount of Josh Kelly as well. And they have one of the P Ryans. I can't keep straight how many P Ryans there are in the league now because there's like 3 of them. And then some really quick ones that were passed along yesterday by Schefter, players who are definitely out. Mike Williams tested positive for COVID-19 on the Chargers. He is out. It seems like a lot of Bucs are out. Fournette is out, obviously, so Rojo will be in there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are both out. Andy Dalton's out, so Nick Foles is getting the start in Chicago. Ramondre Stevenson's out, which puts a lot of extra workload probably on Damian Harris today. Nelson Aguilar is out in New England's wide receiver core. Gabe Davis and Cole Beasley both out for Buffalo. So a lot of Diggs, a lot of Dawson Knox. Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley are both out. So they're going to start Josh Johnson, who I have definitely seen play before, but forgot was in the league. Pat Freiermuth is out. Of course, he got that nasty concussion last week. Teddy Bridgewater out in Denver, which means Drew Lock is going to be in. And one quick one, I don't always do offensive and defensive line stuff, but in that WFT Dallas game tonight, Landon Collins out for the WFT, easily their best player in the back 7, and Tyron Smith out at left tackle for Dallas. And the Rams activated Cam Akers yesterday. So it seems like that was more of a do good for him so that he can get a pension bonus for playing in 3 games this year. But he's probably going to be inactive, but he was activated. So, I mean, if you stashed him or, if you drafted him and held on to him, maybe you might see something next week if you make it to the championship game, but I wouldn't put a lot of faith in it.
Do not start Cam Akers in 2021. Because if he goes, let's say he plays, because he's not going to play this week. Let's say he plays next week. We're talking about 5 touches, people. Okay. And that is a running back that needs several touches. They are not going. That is, as Sean alluded to, that was a move for pension purposes to help him out, doing him a solid essentially. But if he plays in these next 2 weeks, it's going to be very, very minimal. They're trying to get him ready for the playoffs and hope that he can contribute around 10 carries or maybe even more in the playoffs. But don't play that game. He's not going to be your goal line back. It's going to be Michelle or even Henderson. He's going to be a guy that they're going to put in between the 20s and try to get a handful. It's going to be tempting, but don't do it. The only reason why I picked him up in some of the leagues is keep him away from other people. But that was it. Is that it on the MASH report?
That is it on the MASH. Yep. That's it on the MASH for this week. So,
well, let's hear your bold and cold predictions.
Okay. So I've got a bold prediction today. This one's pretty up there. I actually think the Washington football, I'm not taking it as my lock, but I think the WFT is going to cover the 9 points tonight. I'm currently seeing it at 9. I know that there's a lot of reasons to think that they won't do that. But I haven't liked what I've seen out of the Cowboys the last several weeks. Their offense doesn't look in sync for the most part. And I think they're really going to struggle against a team that's going to rush just 4 down linemen and play a backup zone. Very Fangio-esque. We saw what Denver did to Dallas in Dallas. So I think Dallas is going to win, but 9 points is just a lot to give. So that's my bold. My cold prediction, I was seeing some pretty crazy stuff around the Rams in the same game parlay. Particularly Matt Stafford. His over-under on passing yards is 287.5. He's only hit that 2 times in the last 7 games. I know that Minnesota's been thrown on a lot, but I think they're going to run Madison left, run Madison right, run Madison, middle, because the teams that have given the Rams trouble this year have kept the ball out of the Rams offense's hand and stayed on the field for longer, which Kirk can definitely do with play action. I just really don't like that number. So if that's something your same game, and I would stay to the under on that one. I don't think Stafford's going to have a 300-yard day today. I'm not buying that.
287. That's the number.
287.5 is what it's on at Caesars right now.
I wouldn't bet the under, but I don't know if I'd bet the over.
Yeah, exactly. I pick your rock in a hard place.
They could win by 21 and him not go to 287 points.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, that's a high number. I like to get those quarterback numbers that are 250 or lower, like in that area. Because 287. This isn't a video game. You can't guarantee what the game flow is going to be. Nope. Let's go ahead and do our dynasty build. Okay. Let me get that pulled up. I do have. Wait a minute. I do have a question that just came in. Let me see here. Odell Beckham Jr. or Adam Thielen? Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Same game. With Cook being out, especially if they get down early, I would start Thielen just because that's a possibility. I mean, they may have to chuck it at some point in that game.
Bobby, what say you?
I'm with him on that. I'd go with Thielen, but I mostly say that because you got Jalen Ramsey who's probably going to be covering Justin Jefferson for a majority of the game. So I like Thielen to get a lot more looks than usual today.
Even though Odell Beckham Jr. is going up against the worst defense in the National Football League versus wide receivers?
I think both of them are great options, but I'm a little bit leaning more towards Thielen, especially with how uninvolved Odell was in the offense last week.
I know, but Van Jefferson wasn't involved in the offense either. Odell had 3 targets. Van had 2 targets. They didn't really throw the ball except to Cooper Kupp.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what you worry about too, though. If Kupp's open, they're going to hit him pretty much every time.
Well, maybe Odell and Van Jefferson need to go step on his damn ankle pregame. That's what
I wouldn't hate it because I'm playing in one of my fantasy leagues today.
Yeah, I am too, man. I'm
nervous. I'm nervous. I'm playing him and Stafford, so I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit anxious about that.
Oh, here's a really interesting one. Joe Burrow. I talked about what he did against Baltimore in the first meeting. Joe Burrow or Dak Prescott?
Burrow.
And that
I'm leaning towards Burrow, honestly, because I don't know how I'm not very confident in the Ravens being able to stay on the field.
I think so. I think I go Burrow. I've got one league that I have to start Dak because there really is no better option, and I'm not just going to go out there throwing a dart when you have Dak going up against one of the worst pass defenses in the league. At some point, he's got to snap out of it, right? But if I've got the option to go Burrow, I'm going to go Burrow over Dak because at least I know that Burrow's floor is much higher than Dak's floor, and that's what concerns me. What do you have, like 12 points last week or whatever the hell it was? I mean, it was
he had very little.
Unbelievable.
Against the Giants, no less, right?
Yeah. I mean, he has done nothing. The last 4 weeks, he's had like one decent game.
Yep.
It's unbelievable with the weapons that they have. I mean, I know that Jason Garrett got fired from the Giants earlier in the year. Is he play calling for the Cowboys again? Is that what the damn issue is? Because
it's Mike McCarthy, which isn't a huge step up from Jason Garrett, but no. Well, actually, it's Kellen Moore, I guess.
All right, let me go ahead and find us a game here, and we go into the lineup of integrity. I mean, excuse me, the DFS team build. Sean and I will do our integrities after this. All right, whose turn is it?
It is technically Steven's turn, who's not here.
Bastards.
So I will go because it would have been my turn next week. So I'll kick us off. Game of the most obvious pump for me today is the Chargers visiting Houston. Houston is awful. There's just no other way to say that. I'm going to keep with our theme last week and not try to triple down on stacking options. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. That's a little bit, at the higher end of the board. They're definitely both in the top 5 at their position. But at Houston, who has yielded, I think, the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks and wide receivers in DFS this year, I don't see any reason to go away from it. There's some other options out there, but I'm just not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about Brady with all of his receivers being out except Antonio Brown. I mean, I'm sure he's going to throw it to somebody, but he's got Scotty Miller and, Cameron Brate and Rojo out there. I just think they're going to try and get the lead and pound that game into dust. So Herbert and Allen, 7,200, 7,700. That's where I'm starting us off.
All right, Bobby, what say you?
I'm going to go kind of middle of the pack price wise. I'm going to go Montgomery for 5,700 against the Seahawks. I think he may not have a huge game by any means, but he's going up against a weak defense and he's a consistent scorer. So I like him this week. I think he's a very safe option.
Plus, I believe they're expecting a possible snow in Seattle. So you would think that they'd be running the ball. I expect that to be a low-scoring game, but I've got Montgomery in a couple of leagues, and I feel very comfortable with starting him because I think I think he's going to get 15 to 20 carries. I think he's going to get somewhere close to 100 yards, and he'll probably sneak into the end zone in what I think will be a low-scoring ball game. A good defense to stream, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and save us some money off the jump. I'm going to grab our defense, and we're going to go with the Atlanta Falcons at $2,600, sitting at home going up against TB12. Asterisk.
Oh, it makes me so happy. There's a lot of Lions fans on Twitter doing that this morning. I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. Doing the real TB12 stuff. I'm like, stop it. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Get off your phone.
I think look, I love on DFS when you can find a spot to save money on defense, and it's a realistic one, not like just a freaking dart throw. You're like, man, I really hope there's a hurricane that shows up at the Rams Vikings game today. I'm talking about something that's logical, and he was terrible. What would he have? 77 yards or 71 yards?
77 yards. Here's how bad he was. I woke up this morning hoping for my Christmas present would be that Caesars or somebody would have his yardage up so I could bet the under. And they won't even put it up. Yeah, they won't even put it up. Caesars doesn't have it at all. So that tells you what they think of the first Tim Boyle experience. They don't even have a passing yardage number up for him on Caesars for you to over under.
Let me look and see if on my side, if they've got him, got anything up to see.
If it's over 135, I'm going to be amazed. And you should still bet the under.
Man, they have pulled everything from the Lions offense.
Yeah, from the Lions. Yep. There's no rushing totals for Jamal and Craig Reynolds. There's nothing. No receivers. I think there's receptions. Maybe I think the receivers are in there for total receptions.
Wow. That is what
that is
wow.
what listen. Vegas is smarter than they've been smarter than us for most of the year. Well, they've been smarter than me for most of the year. Vegas knows when they're not putting a total up, they're like, nope, we are going to lose on this loser. So that's a great one. 2,600 there. All right, back to me. I'm gonna grab something kind of weird today. Well, not that weird, but I am going to grab our tight end, and I'm going to go a little bit off the board in a place where people might not look. I'm going to grab Foster Moreau in the Vegas Denver game at 3,600. He's been Carr's third most targeted receiver the last couple of weeks.
I am so surprised that he is still that low.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
he's been good. I think he's had 2 touchdowns in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, he's definitely a red zone target because he's one of the bigger bodies they have. And he's a safety valve for Carr in a game that, I don't have any feel on. I'm done betting on or against the Broncos and the Giants this year because they've tricked me every single time. When I thought they were going to do well, they've done the opposite and vice versa. So you got me. I mean, even Vegas has no idea that game's a pick on the last I saw it. But at that price, I really like him. Gives us some more money to spend elsewhere.
All right, Bobby, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit cheaper as well. I'm going to go Van Jefferson for 5,500 against the Vikings. I've mentioned it pretty much all show. I see this being a high-scoring game, and when it's a high-scoring game, there's going to be a lot of deep balls, and Jefferson's the go-to guy for the Rams in that category. So I like him. I'm hoping he can break a big one today, and hoping he can take some targets from Cooper Kupp because I don't need him to have a big day.
So he's at 5,500. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I like that one, Bobby.
Thank you.
He's very Deshaun Jackson-esque in the sense that you might get 2 for 20, but you also might get 4 for $120 because he seems to be the over-the-top guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that leaves. So we're at 59. Okay, so we still need a running back. We need a wide receiver. We need a flex. We see what we got going on here. I don't want to overpay for Najee Harris. I just think he's way too highly priced. Cordero Patterson ought to feast today on the Lions. And, he catches it out of the backfield, so he gets you the PPR, which you love in the DFS. And he's also projected for over 60 yards rushing, over 25 yards passing. If he gets that combined and sneaks into the end zone once, maybe even twice, we could have ourselves a field day, which takes it back to Sean, 5,500 apiece. We got a wide receiver and a flex open.
Okay. Around 5,500. Let's see if there are some names I really, really like. There's one that jumps right out, but the weather's not good. So I do like Mooney with Robinson out and Foles in. He's going to check down a lot, but the weather's supposed to be bad in that game. So the other one,
Seattle, though they give up a lot of yards on the ground, they do not in the air. Seattle's got a very good.
So here's an obvious one. Despite all the dirt I dumped on the Tampa Bay game earlier, Antonio Brown's only 4,900. That's a no-brainer for me with Godwin and Evans out. That price,
absolutely.
I hadn't seen that before. Now that price shocks me because he is going to be target one. And look, whatever you want to say about him as a person, it's definitely a questionable figure. He's a top flight wide receiver when he's right. So Brady could find him often today. That could be a bigger PPR game than touchdowns. He might end up going to Brate. They might run it with Rojo and some other guys in short yardage. And Carolina, stinks. And actually, they've been pretty good against the run. So I think Brady's going to have to throw today. So that leaves us 6,100 for the flex, which is decent money.
And I think that takes it to you, Bobby.
All right. What do we need? We need a flex, right?
Flex 6,100.
At 61.
61. Can you list off some names if you don't mind?
Javonte Williams, Devontae Smith, Josh Jacobs, James Robinson, Russell Gage, Kyle Pitts, Hollywood Brown, CEH.
I kind of like Javonte Williams.
Okay.
I like Javonte Williams. I could see him having a nice day.
All right, so we'll put it in. So real quick, the lineup looks like this. It's Herbert at 72, Montgomery 57, Patterson 67, Allen 77, Jefferson at 55, AB at 49, Moreau 36, Javonte at 61, and the Falcons at 6,100 or
2,600.
2,600. Did I say Javonte Williams?
You did.
Okay, mine's playing tricks on me. All right, so there you go, and that should be a pretty good lineup. So, there you have.
I will say our team build has cashed, not for big money like $5, $8, but it's cashed the last 4 times I've played it. So there you go. Something to be said for you peoples.
We'll expect those checks,
the residuals.
Yeah. Bobby, what is your lock of the day and your one big thing?
I'm torn between 2 different lines for my lock of the day, but I'm going to go with Washington plus 8.5. I don't really trust the Cowboys offense lately. They haven't really they've come up flat in a lot of games, and I could see obviously with how much is on the line for Washington, they really need a win today. I mean, Cowboys do too to have a shot for that 1 seed, but Washington, if they want to keep their season alive, they really need a win today. So I think this is going to be a fairly close game, and I like them to cover 8.5. And my one big thing, I have them covering, but I'm going to say the Cowboys. I'm going to say they get a close win today. It's going to be it's a big game for playoff implications in that division and stuff, and I think it'll be a close game. So I like the Cowboys to win and keep their hopes for the 1 seed alive.
All right, brother. Well, we will see you next Sunday for championship week of the fantasy football playoffs.
Awesome. Thank you. You guys have a good one.
All right, brother.
Good luck, Bobby. Last time playing you.
Thank you. See
you. Sean, let's go ahead and get into our DFS lines of integrity. I've got mine pulled up, so I'll go ahead and jump into mine real quick, and then gives you a chance to get yours. Let's start with Matt Stafford at 6,700, going up against the 31st ranked secondary against quarterbacks. I think that's a fairly affordable play. I coupled him with Keenan Allen at 7,700, and then I also have Justin Jackson at 4,200, the big time money save right there. And then that gave me my second running back. I said it earlier. I really think he's going to have a big day. James Robinson, if he's in your season long, he's going up against the Jets. They're feeding him the ball. He should have a really good game today. 32nd ranked against running backs in fantasy football. Wow.
Yes, they are.
And then my receivers, so I already gave you, or did I give you a receiver yet?
I don't remember hearing receivers.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay. I don't know if I did or not, but anyways, I saw it and thought it, but I don't think I said it. Cooper Kupp, I'm going to go ahead and pay the price for him. 32nd against wide receivers. Why the hell not? If you're going to go ahead and double up on someone, might as well be the best. That I was able to afford him because I went and grabbed AB 4,900. What the hell? Why not? And then
why not?
Odell Beckham Jr., I'm also going to hedge my bets and grab him at 5,300. OBJ, this feels like an OBJ game. So I've got OBJ going in this league. As bad as a week as he had last week, he still out-targeted Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson, they go for the big money shot. If they get it, they get it. But if they don't, they don't. OBJ is more likely to get 8 to 10 targets in this game against Minnesota. Tight end, I went with Moreau. It dumbfounds me that he's $3,600 at this point. I mean, come on. And then Keenan Allen is my wide receiver flex at 7,700. And just like I did in our team build, I went with the Atlanta Falcons defense for 2,600. So I went cheap on a couple of guys, and it allowed me to go drunken sailor on the rest. What say you, sir?
All right, so I coupled Matt Stafford with Cooper Kupp. which is spending definitely at the top of the market on a wide receiver, but that was a price that I liked in a matchup that I like today. Even though I don't know that Stafford's going to get a lot of yards, I think he might get a lot of touchdowns. And running back, I went with Cordarrelle Patterson at 6,700, and then kind of a sleeper, a guy I haven't taken a lot this year, and you'd be remiss for not, trusting him because his advanced numbers are better than what you've seen if you own him in fantasy. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 5,800 against the Pittsburgh defense that's been gashed the last couple of weeks, and Andy has shown a real penchant for starting to run the ball, especially out of more creative formations. So I like that one. Russell Gage at 5,900 against Detroit, whose best cornerback, Amani Oruwariye, is now gone for the year. I mean, Atlanta could absolutely eat today. And then I took a couple of Houston guys with Brandon Cooks out. I think Davis Mills is going to have to throw the ball for them to be competitive. So Nico Collins was way down the board at 3,400. He's a guy that came out of Michigan that's been there for 2 seasons now, and has basically been their default number 2. And then Jordan Akins, their number 1 pass catching tight end as well. I think Davis Mills is going to have to throw the ball today. And it really hurts that Cooks is out with COVID and has tested positive and it isn't going to be in. And then I finished up with some Bengals, not just for our boy Brian, but because I think they're going to roast Josh Johnson today. I got Joe Mixon in my flex at 6,900, and the Bengals defense was only 2,800, which isn't much more than we spent on the Falcons. And I found that hard to believe because they've, forced a lot of turnovers this year. And Baltimore is just, absolutely decimated on both sides of the ball. So that is my team build today.
All right, brother. I'm having a hard time pulling up this email. So we're going to take like a 120-second break here. And when we come back, we're going to have the stardom sit-ems. We will be back in just a flash. Keep it locked in. Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay. Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert. A 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year-long in your DFS payouts. Your only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long. Week 16. Sean, I did this with the other guys earlier. Where are you at in your fantasy playoffs? How many teams you got left, et cetera, et cetera?
So I played 5 leagues this year, all with, the group here through the Armchair Quarterback Networks. I have 2 semifinal matchups today. I am staring down the barrel on both of them. In one, so let's see, I'm in the 2 to 4 keeper league. In that one, I'm playing Will, who has already had Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, and San Francisco's defense. So I'm staring down shotgun barrels on that one. I do have, some chances, but we'll see how that one works out. That is the Chargers theme team, the just in time, and then the reggae auction where I have the Patriot theme team, Patriot games. Let's see, I'm facing a friend of the show, Brad Shelton, in that one, Lynch Mob. And looks like he's got an advantage on me because he had Adams and Rodgers. But the only player I've had start so far is Kittle, who, was invisible against the Titans Thursday night. I've got Herbert, CeeDee Lamb, Najee Harris, Dallas's defense, Ronald Jones. So I like my chances a little bit better in that one. But I think that's the league where I forget who has that tacky team name that starts with Forsyth. I'm not going to say the whole thing. I think that's Will. But he went 12 and 2 in that league and was a buzzsaw the whole year. So even if I get to the championship, it might not end well for me. But it's 2 out of 5 to make it to the semifinals, and 2 out of 5. That's not bad. So
I'm facing Shelton, and I was just looking at it. What is that? Is that the Auction 2 League? Anyways, I'm in pretty good shape. So he's already had Kittle go. And when Zach Ertz outscores Kittle by 7 points, I'm liking my chances.
Yeah.
And I've also got Debo and Nick Chubb. So I'm up 7-3 right now, but still a lot to go. I'm playing it really safe on some of my picks. There's some guys I feel like could have big games, but I'm playing it safe. Like I like the Russell Gage play, but I'm going to play it safe. Even though he didn't do a damn thing against him the first time, I'm going to go Stephon Diggs, because when you're up by a lot, you don't want to get burned by. I thought Ertz was going to have a much better game, and I think he could have. There were some things that went against him, but I had Pitts, but I played it safe, and I know what Ertz is going to do, and so I put Ertz in over Pitts. Pitts could have a big game against Detroit, but man, it's been such a disappointment all year. I just can't continue to roll that out. In all my leagues, though, I like my defensive matchup. I went out and grabbed Seattle weeks ago when I realized that they were going to be at home against the Bears offense.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'll take that over a better. Like, I was talking to a guy last night that he's got the Rams and the Patriots defense, and he was talking about which one he should start. I was like, man, honestly, I don't like either one of them because the matchup is terrible.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't like the Rams against the Vikings on the road, early kickoff? Man, you could be in the negative. And I told him, I said, the guy he's playing has a really good team and is off to a really good start. I was like, you might have to throw a dart. I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, one that I like is there wasn't much out there on the waiver wire. I was like, would not be scared to throw the Falcons defense out there and hoping they pitch close to a shutout, because I know the Rams are not going to do that. And because that first game was so low scoring, don't you have the feeling that this Patriots-Bills game is going to be a little more of a shootout?
Could be more up and down the field. Yep.
But it's not going to be 49-45. I'm not crazy, but I'm saying it could be in the high 20s. So it's
not going to be the sideways, blizzard rain of the first game. What was what that game end, like 9-7 or something? And like it was awful. It was like 14-10.
But they got there a really weird way. Like they had a 2-point conversion and a couple of field goals.
Right, because nobody could kick anything. I mean, I took the under. I couldn't take the under fast enough. I mean, I took it on Thursday when they were calling for bad weather and got it at a much better number than you got it on Monday. And it's, I was like, at halftime, I was like, I can go to bed. This one's in the bag. There ain't no way they're scoring.
Right.
So,
yeah, we actually did that game play-by-play, Tones and I, and it was a brutal ball game. It was a physical ball game. But look, Stevenson's not even going to play. I think Jones is going to have to chuck it around because I expect the Bills are coming all out, man, balls to the wall, because they lose this game, the division is done. The Patriots.
And they're at risk of not making the playoffs at all. Like they're in trouble.
The Patriots clinch the division with the win today because they'll have the tiebreaker and there's only 2 games left. So they'll have a 2-game lead. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring game. I would love to be watching it, but instead we get to, oh man, I can't wait to get locked into that Jets-Jaguars game later on, man. I think that's the only damn game that they're freaking giving us here locally too. I could be wrong on that, but I think we're only getting one game at 1:00. The one thing I do about do like about the final week of the season is where they give you 2 double headers on both stations.
Yeah.
So I know I'm guaranteed. Yep. Jets, Jaguars, the only damn game on in town. And so then later on we get Bears, Seahawks, and then Steelers, Chiefs.
Have you seen anything with you're more plugged into the Jags than I am. Have you seen anything in the last handful of minutes about Robinson not being available or anything like that?
As far as I know, he's a full go.
I was going to same game parlay his rushing total with a souped line, moving the Jags up to +4.5, and his rushing yardage total has been pulled off the board. So I'll keep my eyes out if I see anything come up. But
as far as I know, I don't have him in any of my money leagues, but I've got him in a couple of other leagues. As far as I know, I've been checking, everyone's status. As far as I know, there's unless, he didn't come down with COVID, did he?
I don't think so. This could just be Caesars has been really tinkering for whatever reason close to kickoff with some of the same game parlays, and they'll pull them off the board and then put them back on at like 11:15. So it's probably just that.
No, it looks like everything's a go, and he's projected for about 15 points today.
Yep.
So yeah,
that's what I thought. I was just checking my sportsbook app of choice, and they had pulled it down.
I'll be honest,
something came up that I missed.
If Coleman was banged up or something, I would love the Michael Carter play today. But I'm worried about that timeshare. And then of course, how many interceptions does Zach Wilson throw? And they're just handing the ball to Robinson. You're like, son of a, what have I done? I put my championship hopes on the Jets. Is that what I've done? So I will say this for your boys, and then we'll get to the start of settings. I was planning on a lot of shares of St. Brown, and then Goff got the COVID.
Yeah.
That screwed everything up. So I've been scrambling to figure out what I'm going to do in a lot of leagues, because I was planning on, because I figured he was going to get double digits easy in that game. So
he still could today if you're in a single point PPR and not a half point PPR, because they don't have anybody else to throw to. Every time Boyle drops back, it's probably going to be headed his way. But yeah, it's not great. It's not what you want.
All right, let's go ahead and hit the stardom sit-em. Here we go. PPR, got to start 2 running backs. Swift, Jamal Williams, Justin Jackson, Carter, and Gaskin.
Well, Swift is out. He's been marked out within the last 5 minutes. That just came up across my phone because I get Lions updates. So Swift's not a go. Jamal Williams. The choice is really Jamal Williams, Gaskin, and Justin Jackson there. You need 2 of those 3. Those are the 3 that I would say you would want to go with. So of those 3.
Is it going to be a Jamal Williams game, or is he going to be?
It's going to be him and Craig Reynolds. Yeah. Craig Reynolds earned his spot last week. He was fantastic. So he's going to share the load with Williams in this game, I would bet. I would think they would both.
You think it's going to be a 50-50 split?
I would bet on it, because Reynolds was great running through holes last week. And the one part of the Lions that hasn't been decimated is the offensive line. So the offensive line, aside from center Frank Ragnow, has been completely healthy the whole year, and they've run the ball fairly well in most games, aside from when they've gotten behind. Now, is Atlanta going to put 9 in the box? They'd be stupid not to. But then again, I've watched enough Falcons games this year to know that those 5 wins are really misleading. They're not as good as those 5 wins would have you believe if you haven't seen them all year. So I think it's going to be 50-50. If I had those choices, I will tell you, I would go with Williams and Justin Jackson. You can make an argument for Gaskin, but they just haven't used him enough. They were using Duke Johnson last week because Gaskin wasn't feeling great coming off of COVID. And New Orleans, if you haven't watched a lot of New Orleans lately, their defense is actually pretty solid. They don't get rampaged on the ground. So
if it's me, I think I go Jackson and Carter.
Okay. The timeshare with Carter concerns me, but yeah.
I don't like Gaskin at all, because I think he's going to get vultured by Duke Johnson carries. Duke Johnson looked very good last week. Now we'll see what the timeshare is this week. So I picked him up in a couple leagues, but I'm not willing to start Duke Johnson until I find out what the hell's going on with it. But he looked much better than Gaskin or anyone else in that backfield's looked all year. Strange, but Duke Johnson, what is he, 45, 46 years old at this point? He looked great. I mean,
he's been around so long. I swear.
If you were just
helicoptered in for like a decade.
Yeah, if you were just helicoptered in from 20 years ago, you would think Duke Johnson was a rookie running back last week. He was flying all over people. I saw him running. I was like, Johnson. I was like, Duke Johnson. Is that the Duke Johnson or is that something else? I thought maybe he'd gotten a nickname or something. You know, there was some guy that they had pulled off the practice squad. That was a shocker to me. Next one up, we've got Javonte Williams, CEH, McLaurin, and Thielen need two of those. So Javonte, CEH, McLaurin, and Thielen.
Need two or three?
Two of those four.
Take out CEH because I like Javonte better. So it's between McLaurin and Thielen at that point. I just don't. Is Heineke back or are they starting some bozo again? Okay, all right. Heineke back. McLaurin's a pretty interesting play, but for the same reason Bobby said earlier, Ramsey's gonna try and put Justin Jefferson on Ramsey Island. Now, nobody's shut down Jefferson, so I'm going to be keenly. That game's going to be in my 4-game box today for sure because I want to see if Ramsey can shut him down. But I would go Thielen and the running back I just said, Javonte Williams, and Thielen there. I would book in.
I don't have PPR or anything in front of me, so I don't know what it is. But I wonder, like, if it's a standard league, I think I would take the 2 running backs. The reason why is with no Travis Kelce, they're going to lean on that running game a little more. I still think Andy Reid just throws the ball incredibly too much, and it's going to be the death of them in the playoffs. But I like the sure thing. And McLaurin first of all, McLaurin had a terrible game against Dallas the first time out. But, you know, you can put that in a vacuum. Thielen, man, I get the whole Thielen thing, but what if he's coming off the injury? It's an ankle sprain, wasn't it?
It was. No, it was in the Lions game. I mean, he got rolled, like his high ankle got, pinned under Jerry Jacobs.
He's back.
Jerry Jacobs pulled him down.
I honestly think he's back a lot faster than I expected.
I agree.
I'm worried about that dude making 5 or 6 snaps and then all of a sudden, he's out of the game again. And you're getting the freaking alert on your phone. Hey, your freaking season is over because you put Thielen in. And you're like, give me one of these. Let me eat my feelings. Okay. Diggs, AB, Lamb. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me back up and see how many starters we need in this. We need 2 wide receivers out of this. Diggs, AB, CD Lamb, or Renfro. So 2 of those 4. Diggs, AB, CD Lamb, or
CD Lamb, Renfro. I'm going to zag. I would actually go AB and CD Lamb of those guys. You can make an argument for all 4 of them.
I agree. I like the
Renfro's been like wide receiver 8 in fantasy the last 6 weeks, which blows my mind because I don't watch a lot of the Raiders.
Right?
Yep.
I just
playing Denver at home.
That could be that reeks of a low scoring game.
Yeah, I got no feel for that game. I mean, if the Raiders win it, that Colts Raiders game suddenly means a lot, to me and Big Country over here. Next week, that means a lot to the Colts, means a lot for playoff positioning. But if Denver gets them, that's pretty much it.
The New England or Kansas City defense?
So I've got shares of I've got the Kansas City defense. I picked them up, I want to say 3 weeks ago, and have started them twice in one of the leagues where I'm in the semifinal, and I'm starting them again this week. Their defense has been very, very good. That's a real tough one. I do have a league where I have them both, and I'm starting Kansas City. So if you want to take that for what it's worth.
I would rather start Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather get on the waiver wire and see if there's something better. But if I got to pick between those 2, I got this feeling Josh Allen's going to eat today. All right. Full PPR league. Zeke, CD, St. Brown. You can only start one. This seems pretty obvious. Zeke.
Full point PPR?
Full point PPR, Zeke, CD, and St. Brown.
I mean, St. Brown, I love him, but I mean, get him out of there. So it's between Zeke and CD.
Yeah.
Cooper's playing. Game could be low scoring. I would almost say go Zeke.
Really?
It's
full point PPR. I've got to go CD.
Got to go CD. Okay.
It's
there's no. I don't
crazy to think you would have both of those and you'd be able to bench one of them. I'd love to know what kind of boneheaded decision you made prior to this. Julio Jones is going to rock and roll. Let's put him in Thursday night. All right, let's go.
Let's put him in.
Okay, here we go. Emmanuel Sanders, Josh Reynolds, Murray, or Fant. Pick one.
Who's Murray?
Latavius Murray.
Oh my God. Where is he? Baltimore's backfield? Oh God. You got to pick one.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. Take Noah Fant. He's the number one tight end. I mean, you know, an argument can be made.
I'm either going Fant or maybe Emmanuel Sanders because of all the injuries.
Yeah, there's something there, but yeah. I think the number two receiver in that offense is Dawson Knox, and I don't think it's particularly close. So, you know, unless they're both double covered, yeah, you can make an argument for Sanders, but I would take Fant.
Justin Jackson or Melvin Gordon?
Jackson's a solid running back. Gordon, I don't know. He's had a few touchdowns, but I just don't see him as the number one.
He hasn't had it yet, but Justin Jackson was pretty damn good a couple of years ago.
He was.
Back when, by the way, Melvin Gordon was in the backfield. So, I mean,
irony.
He can carry the ball 15 times plus. I mean, it's a possibility.
He's a good pass catcher too. He's a good running back. He picks up the blitz. Staley will leave him in.
In the game script, you would expect them to be ahead so they wouldn't be having to chuck it all over the place. And there's no Mike Williams. So I kind of expect them to lean on the run game. All right. All right, here you go. Pick one, OBJ or DJ Moore, half point PPR.
DJ Moore. I don't trust OBJ. I just don't.
I don't trust Cam Newton. Give me OBJ.
DJ
Moore. I think DJ Moore would be phenomenal anywhere else on the planet. Poor bastard can't get out of Carolina. Well, you know what his problem is? He can't get away from freaking Cam Newton. Cam Newton keeps following him. He needs to go sign someone else and say, but if you sign Cam Newton, I get a full release. I get to go anywhere I want.
I get to go anywhere I want. Full release.
Claypool, Sony Michel, or Devontae Freeman, half point PPR.
Claypool. I don't love it, but he's the best of those three options.
As long as he doesn't celebrate, you know, during.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
2-minute drive. God,
what a dummy.
I thought Notre Dame guys were supposed to be smart. Kenny Galladay or Braxton?
You want it? Here's a hot take for you. Braxton Berrios. Kenny Galladay is a bum. And I was saying that when he was a Lion. Kenny Galladay is a bum. B-U-M bum. Braxton Berrios. He might actually get the ball today.
Here's an interesting one. David Montgomery or Justin Jackson?
Ooh.
I
agree with you about that Chicago-Seattle game, that thing is going to be a land war in Asia. I mean, it's just going to be Penny versus Montgomery, especially if the snow comes in and it's cold. So give me Montgomery.
You drafted Montgomery probably in the top 5 rounds of your draft if you got him. Don't get cute. It's the playoffs. I know Jackson.
Don't outsmart yourself.
Jackson to me is a flex play today. He's not a lock it in number 2. If you've drafted well, now if you're hit with injuries, then hell, he could be your number 1 running back on your team. Or if you got hit by the Saquon Barkley flu. I got a team where I got Saquon Barkley and Zeke Elliott.
Oh God.
Hey. By the way, I don't have to worry about that team because they didn't make it to the semifinals.
You'll be surprised to learn.
Breaking news. I also drafted Jameis Winston as my quarterback in that league. All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll. And Jameis Winston's probably had the best year of all three of them.
Could be worse. You could have had 2 leagues where you took Trey Sermon as your RB3. And that guy is on the back of a milk carton because nobody has seen him since he left Ohio State. He is nowhere to be found.
I remember when he was, I remember preseason, a lot of people were big on him. And I was like, I don't know, man.
Every year there's a rookie running back that pops, and it's kind of like mining for gold on the beach to see which one it's going to be. It's like you'll get lucky once and think you can read the room. And then you have a year like I did this year where I took Trey Sermon in 2 leagues and I'm like, nope, never again.
Well, there's a lot of issues.
He might still be good. It's just there's a lot going on in San Francisco.
My problem with drafting a San Francisco running back is they normally have like 6 of them. And you're like, okay, so if I draft one, I've got to draft at least 2 more, and then I'm going to play that game all year long of who do you start, and it just turns into a nightmare. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll get into our locks. Cordell Patterson, Alexander Madison, James Robinson, grab 2.
Don't outthink it. Patterson and Robinson are the 2 best running backs. I do like Alexander Madison, but the Rams have been pretty stingy against the run. And if they get down early, they're going to abandon the run pretty quick.
I agree. Gibson against the Cowboys, assuming that he plays, or CEH versus the Steelers?
Gibson. And he's been questionable every week this year, and I think he's only sat out twice. So, and I have a lot of shares of him. I have him in, I think I had him in not every league, but at least 4 out of 5. And he has been a huge disappointment. And to your point a few weeks ago, when we took him in DFS, you were like, this guy sucks. Every time we put him in, he does nothing. And what did he do that day? 3.8, nothing.
I was like, God. Here we go again.
I think it was me. I think I did it, and Trosh was backing it up. So.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, he was out there playing the trombone. And I wasn't even gonna grind in the song. I was like, they know what I said. I'm not gonna at them with, see, I told you so. I lost. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. If Tyreek Hill had not hit protocols, I would be very enticed by CEH, but I'm benching him in the what the hell is it called? The sleeper app league, because
really
with
that would make me like him more. But
with Tyreek Hill playing, they're not going to be as dependent on CEH. And I also can't I just can't trust his ass. Because in that league, real quick, I'll throw you my options, but this is what I'm looking at. I've got Justin Jackson. I've already had Nick Chubb go. So I've got Justin Jackson in my slots, or my, flexes. I've got AB and Cordell Patterson. So I would have to bench either Justin Jackson, AB, or Cordell Patterson for CEH, and I'm just not willing to do it. And this is a 2-week championship. I don't want to get cute and then be down by 6. Then I'm out there throwing the St. Browns at the freaking wall, hoping, this guy, yeah. You're staying up till 4 a.m, trying to read. Oh, Adam Schefter says that. No. I'm just gonna go. I know Patterson should do well. AB should get targeted.
Quick before we do our locks, I've got one for you for one of my semifinal leagues, the one where I'm playing Will, where I'm getting roasted. I did something really crazy. I'm going to let you respond to it before I ask you my defense question. I benched Josh Allen for Matt Ryan against the Lions. I don't think it's that crazy.
What league is this? Which one is it?
That's the keeper 2 to 4.
Okay.
So I benched Josh Allen for Matt Ryan. I don't always trust Yahoo's point totals, but here's my question. I have Kansas City's defense and Dallas's defense, who are projected to score around the same points. Which one would you start? Because I'm already starting Dallas in the other one instead of New England.
Dallas's defense has been so good. I really think I think they're going to put it on Washington tonight.
I agree. And the last time they played them, and it was in Washington, didn't they force like 4 turnovers and 2
Well,
for touchdowns. It was just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that game's really misleading. You'll see the final score 27-20. You're like, well, that game was a blowout. And
it was 24-3 in the first quarter, I think.
Right. And there was the pick 6 by
Diggs.
Prescott.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That flipped the script on that game and made it much closer than it should have been. So I really like Dallas tonight. I think they're gonna I'm gonna lose my bet with Carr because he said that they would win at least 12 games, and I think they're gonna win tonight, and then I would need them to lose out. I just don't think that's gonna happen. But I don't know.
They're in a position where they could still get the 1 seed if they keep winning. I mean, they would need Green Bay to lose, but they would have to finish, I think, above Green Bay because of conference record.
Your quarterback question is who again?
Oh no, I pulled Josh Allen for Matt Ryan in that league. So it was a defense question, not a quarterback question. I just wanted to put that out in the air and see if you reacted to it, but it didn't seem like you thought it was that
so
crazy.
Many points scored. I would be more willing to go after to put Josh Allen in there, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because what you're telling me is that you're down by a bunch, right?
Yeah, I'm down by like 65.
What's your team's name?
That one is, I think that one is Just in Time. Yeah, Just in Time.
Always confuses me because I think it's Justin's team. Let me see who else you got on the bench. Oh, dude.
Yeah,
you could really use Eckler right about now.
It really could. Really could. Yep, that one hurt.
I guess you don't have any other options. You got so many guys injured. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, if it's me, both defenses are at home. I'm grabbing Dallas, and then I'm probably putting. I get the reasoning behind it, but I don't want to lose with freaking Matt Ryan in my lineup. That's my problem. It's like I'd rather go down swinging, guns ablazing. Oh Christ, he's already scored 117 points.
Yep.
I've got Matt Stafford. Is there any way for me to slide him to you?
No, I don't think so. No, and he's loaded up. He's got Robinson, Mixon, Madison, and Mark Andrews still going. Like this could be one of the worst semifinal shellackings of all time.
That's why I would go with Allen. Because you need a huge game, and they don't have a running game. So if they go in, in other words, they've got to lean on him, right?
Yes,
what is your lock of the day?
My lock of the day, we talked about Tim Boyle earlier. I was really hoping Tim Boyle's under would be my lock of the day, but I will take my second choice for worst quarterback starting a National Football League game today, and that is the New York Giants starting Jake from State Farm, whose under on passing yards is 193.5. Give me that under. It's minus 120. It's not a huge return. You put 5 on it, you win, 9.25. But I've seen the Giants offense under Daniel Jones, and I've seen it under Mike Glennon. And I don't see how it's going to be any better under a guy who was at Georgia 3 years ago. I think that's where he came from, right? Georgia 3 years ago.
And then he went to Washington.
Washington, that's right. And look, if you haven't been paying attention, the Eagles are really perplexing. They look like Colts light of the NFC one week, and then the next week they can't get out of their own way. But this game's in Philly. They have to win to stay in playoff positioning. And I think they're going to boat race the Giants. That's one of my number one locks.
Again, 193?
193.5.
Okay.
And I'm taking the under. I don't think he might not get over 100.
My lock of the day is going to be the Jaguars Jets. 41 is the over under. I'm going to take the over. I think it's going to be a really high scoring ball game. And I think the Jaguars I think the Jaguars are going to screw up and win the game, but I'm pulling for the Jets because I want the Jaguars to have the higher pick. What is your one big thing?
My one big thing today is keep an eye on that Cincinnati-Baltimore game, because if Cincinnati wins, they pretty much sew up that division. I mean, they still have a game left against Pittsburgh and a game left against the Browns, but I think if they win today and they win either of the last two, it doesn't matter which one, they win the division. And you already alluded to this as well, but the Cowboys – I thought the Cowboys might put it on cruise control at this point, but they still have a chance to get the number one seed in the NFC if Green Bay loses one more time and they win. I believe they would have a better conference record, and they haven't played each other yet. So a lot of games afoot today. I'm going to have, I think, my 4-game mix. I'm going to have Rams, Minnesota. Definitely going to have Cincinnati, Baltimore. Of course, I've always got the Lions in there. And then I'll have to pick whatever the 4th game is, because I'm not sure what they're showing here locally in Nashville. I'll have to check it out. But enjoy the football. Enjoy the fantasy playoffs if you're lucky enough to be in the semifinal like both me and Mac are. And as we come down the end of the winding road of one of the just weirdest, most nonsensical seasons of football I can recall.
My one big thing is the Pittsburgh Steelers shock the Chiefs in their kingdom, and we start getting really, really interesting AFC playoff. I also believe that the my 1B would be Bengals are going to beat the Ravens today, and that's going to pretty much seal the deal to get them to their division title. But anyways, also congratulations to my friends on their reveal. I would assume they've already done it because it was about an hour ago. So they've got a baby girl on the way, and so congratulations to them. All right, we'll see you next week, brother.
Yeah, man. Have a great week, everybody. Happy New Year.
Good luck to your Wolverines. I'm definitely
Don't call me on Friday. Don't call me on Friday.
We'll see you.